All right, we are live and in effect. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Delilah De La Rosa. I am the founder of Depth Worldwide, which is putting on the series Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss. To my side here is Steven Morrison. He's the creator of Spiritual Workout. It's the practice that we apply here in Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss. And also, he is the author of An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. Kind of tracks with the unconventional wisdom of grief and loss here. How are you today, Steven?
I'm quite well. Thanks for asking. I'm looking forward to this 7th session of ours.
Yeah.
As we speak, in acknowledging the presences of your mom and my late partner as integral co-creators of this project, as well as any other of our non-physical friends and relations who have any interest in this project and or perhaps jurisdiction over it, so that it reaches to help it reach the people that we hope will find what you're doing here, what we're doing here.
Exactly. Yes, welcome aboard, non-physical entities, mom, duder. So last week, just as a bit of a recap here, we went through a bunch of different beliefs, limiting beliefs.
Well, not so much that we went through them, but Delilah really did some work identifying them.
Yeah.
She didn't just stop at 1 or 2.
No, it was like about 9
you kind of went off and in between came back with a whole bunch more, which is really such a critical part of our practice. And I just want to honor you for doing that and commend you for doing it, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's also not the hardest thing in the world to do. I think the harder part, and then I'll shut up, is the emotion that tends to come with the beliefs, because we're looking at beliefs that really don't serve us, even if they once did, especially if they once did. And there's no right or wrong to any belief we have. Every single one of us has the right to every single belief we have. We created it, came to believe it for some reason that served us. And then we wake up one day and say, wow, that doesn't really serve me anymore. And we say it over and over again on this subject of grief and loss, or this subject of grief and loss, absolutely, in a way that is even more so than some other subjects, really puts us in contact with our beliefs. So I really appreciate, Delilah, your efforts in that regard.
Yeah, thank you. We walked away from last session with about 9 or 10 beliefs that don't seem to be serving me very well. And I wanted to place special attention in terms of addressing the beliefs with these 2 main ones that seem to sort of like encompass the other ones.
Yes.
And those 2 were, 1, I'm not okay unless everyone else is okay. And the other one was that I'm afraid I don't have a good, I'm afraid / I don't have a good, I'm afraid / I don't trust God, the universe, life. Right. And, what I intended to do was, I didn't necessarily want to go into this exercise without feeling some type of charge, with those beliefs. Meaning like if I'm feeling like happy and content and stuff like that, I didn't want to necessarily go into tap, like, okay, this is, let's go and tap on these beliefs. I mean, we could do that, but I didn't necessarily want to do that because I had a feeling that this was going to come up on its own,
Mm-hmm.
and it did yesterday.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was on Monday, I celebrated my 1 year wedding anniversary.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And 1 year wedding anniversary. And so we celebrated that. And sometimes on the iPhones, you can have like they would sometimes like put together all the photos that you have with someone or just on your own, kind of like, like a compilation that they put in like a video set to music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw that, and it was a really nice compilation. Like, it was like, oh wow, like this is like, looks like it was almost like professionally done. Like I didn't even have issues with the photos, And I was like, oh wow, this is actually really nice. And I was like looking through, it was probably like spanning 10 years of our being together, like photos of the past 10 years.
Only 10 years.
Right. We've been together for over 26. But just married 1 year. So, I think over a span of 10 years, it had like about 125 photos of myself and my husband. And, I was feeling like, oh, wow, look, and all the photos are pretty good. Like, we look great in it, and, feeling like joyous. And then the thought came in of, what if something happens to either one of us? Essentially, it's kind of what Brene Brown had introduced to me, this idea like 10 years ago, probably, which is funny, 10. But like over 10 years ago, Brene Brown introduced to me this idea of foreboding joy. So you could be all immersed in this joyous thing, like feeling content and appreciative and like, oh my gosh, like this is spectacular. I would love this, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, what if it's taken away? Like here's like, it's like in a movie, right? Like this is the height and everyone's all happy, go lucky, da, da, da. And then boom, the other shoe drops essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something bad happens, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes like a sob story, not a happily ever after, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of sent me into a little bit of a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
It started making me think about my mother, and how we went to Mexico for her 65th birthday. We had the time of our lives. It was like the best trip ever. And then pretty much shortly thereafter, like a couple of months into the following year, she got this diagnosis, pancreatic stage 4. Within 2.5 months, dies. And it's like blindsided, right?
Yeah.
And it totally pointed me to that belief of, I'm afraid of the universe. I can't trust the universe. It's like the minute that I let go and allow myself to, I'm kind of speaking like what may be behind this too, right?
I get it.
Like explaining the feeling and belief. It's like as soon as I allow myself to luxuriate in the joy and the beauty and the thing that I want, which is this connection and celebration and love, like don't get too, what's the word? Don't get too comfortable, because boom, boom, something will smack you right up, And so, so that was on Monday night, and yesterday was was 4 months since my mother passed away. And that spiral kind of stayed there. Like I thought that it like dissipated when I was like, okay, this is the belief, you know? And once I could identify that belief active, or activated, it was able to sort of like relax a little bit, or so I thought.
Okay.
Because I kind of went into something else that sort of distracted me, that like some movie or something that I was like, some series that I was watching that like distracted me. So it wasn't like I went right into tapping. I probably should have, because when I woke up yesterday, I woke up with that weight in my chest and like verklempt, feeling. And and I just kind of went into a bit of an anxiety spiral, the impending doom, right? And what I mean by impending doom was like health anxiety started coming in, loss, what if something happens to me or my husband? Or my brother, for instance, because he wasn't being as responsive the last 2 days. And so the thought came up of like, what if something happened to him? I saw the lights flickering again in the bathroom. What if that's like, notifying me that my brother, something happened to my brother, because that's what happened when my mom was dying, like the light was flickering the day of, like how it was flickering yesterday. And I just started getting into that space of like, something bad's gonna happen, or, I just started like stressing over all these different types of things that pointed to loss, being blindsided, other shoe dropping, can't trust this universe, and that's when I was like, okay, let me tap here, let me tap here, and then also do this meditation. I always forget the name of the Hawaiian.
Ho'oponopono.
Yes. Did that for about 20 minutes as well. And it was okay. Like the tapping, I felt like helped soothe a bit.
Give me just an idea. What was the nature of the tapping in terms of content, or if it was just letting go, and roughly for about how long?
It was letting go. I would say it was for about 15 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes, just to kind of get that weight.
Take the edge off, kind of?
Yeah.
Lighten it a little bit?
Lighten it a little bit. And then also, went into the meditation afterwards.
And also, you hadn't done tapping. So that list of 9 or 10 or a dozen beliefs, you kind of, over the course of the week, got down to 2 primary ones.
I just, from the get-go, I wanted to focus on those 2 because they seem the most like active.
But up until yesterday, you didn't do tapping on any of those other ones, or any?
No. Well,
okay.
I did do some on the not enough. That did come up, but in terms of like those 2 beliefs, because I was kind of in a celebratory mood over the weekend, and I was like, all right, I know this will come up on its own, and I'm not gonna force it, because I'm in a celebratory mood, and I don't want to mess with that. It'll come up on its own, and I did. Did. And so that was yesterday. What really got me not feeling so good, and I was like, thank God I have the grief and loss session tonight, because I had a dream with my mother in it, and she was sitting by a windowsill and holding up like some itinerary, an itinerary for me for a trip. And the flight had like she was telling me the flight was like 2 stops. And I was like, Ma, I don't want to stop, make 2 stops, And she had this look of like fear for me. Like she was like, no, like she was afraid for me. And then I woke up and I was like, and it was freaking me out that she was afraid for me. Like I know that energy, that vibe, when she was alive on Earth here, like it was like she was worried about me. There was fear for me. And so when I woke up from that dream, I felt really bad. I felt really bad because I was like, it kind of freaked me out. Like I was like, it's like a premonition, like something bad.
Can you say what you were believing when you woke up about the dream?
Is this like, is she warning me, about something? I also felt yesterday, part of like the tapping and the working it out was this, the fear I have of God, universe, life, and for my mother in this dream to exude fear over my well-being. I was like, what the fuck? And it made me feel really disheartened,
because you were believing what?
I was believing a couple of things. One, I was wondering, not 100% believing, but wondering whether this was forecasting something, a warning of something.
So if it was a warning, then what does that mean to you?
That I need to be afraid of something.
Okay, so that's a belief.
Yeah, that I need to be afraid of something. I'm like, also, I have a history of having some travel anxiety,
right?
Flight anxiety, right? And so for my mother to be expressing fear over something with my itinerary or something in this dream, I was like, what the fuck? And then the other thing was like, the other layer to this was that my mother, non-physical being and stuff, is still expressing fear. And this is something that I'm working out, like fearing God, fearing the universe, fearing life, like, here's another belief. Do I have to get on the defensive? And it just made me feel.
So I have to protect myself.
Yes, I have to protect myself. And I'm like, this is not what I don't want to fucking do. Like, I want to like let go. Why am I having this fucking dream? And like, I don't want to run.
So you're also saying, believing that your mom was sending you a message.
I was wondering if she was sending me a message.
Okay.
I wasn't believing it 100%. I was actually just wondering if she was sending me a message or if this is just my fears in the dream. Like I was open to this stuff, right? Like this is my fears, perhaps.
Did you ask that question?
Yeah. And I think I was too wrapped up in the spiral today. I mean, I cried, I was just like, just feeling like that was such an unsettling dream. You know what I mean? It's not the dream that I wanted to have, one, because of the work that I'm doing so that I'm not living my life based on fear, and this just felt like it was bringing in there. And then like my mom, and it wasn't unfamiliar. Her look, her anxiety over our well-being or my well-being was very familiar. Like this is how she would have been on Earth.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why I remember in the dream being like, why is she worried? Like it's making me worried. That hits on the other thing. I'm not okay unless everyone else is.
Got it. All right.
You know, like I guess I should be worried because my mother's worried. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Or it appears to you that your mother's worried, which may or may not be the case.
In the dream, it felt like she was.
Exactly. So you are talking to somebody who is not a dream interpreter by any stretch.
I have somebody for that. I'm gonna put it.
And over the years, you know, starting 30 years ago, you know, becoming a therapist and, you know, looking into, you study dreams to some degree. I never really did because I'm a person that doesn't remember my dreams virtually ever. So there wasn't a lot for me personally to do there. And over the years, the thing that has made the most sense to me is, I'll just share my personal opinion. This is not anything that I am ultra confident talking about, except this piece that over the course of 30 years, whenever I have heard anything or looked at or studied anything about dreams, interpretations, what they mean, the teaching that has made the most sense to me, I'm just talking about me, is that approach to dream interpretation that says everybody in the dream is us.
Okay. That's what
so that's sort of, and you were questioning that a little bit with yourself. And it's like this idea, is she sending me a message? I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm certainly wondering, you know, am I supposed to be afraid of something? I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm wondering, right? And yet, so if you're in this particular case, believing that your mom is giving you a message would produce a certain response, right? That's its own message. Believing that your fears are being reflected back to you in your dream, fears that have been kicked up, fears that are about, you know, all of that.
Not trusting the universe.
Correct. And you just started, I mean, everything you were talking about tonight was about, you know, leading up to this dream. You were not coming into it from that joyful place so much as you were, you know, had a lot of fear going on. So again, you're the arbiter. Listen to inspiration, what makes the most sense, what resonates with you. And it might take a while to sort out. But
I think I felt like it was, there's a sense that I have that because of the many layers in which or the lens in which I'm seeing this dream, it was almost as if like, it was hitting on that, right? Like if my mom is worried, then I can't possibly be okay. Right.
A, because she's worried, and then B, she happens to be worried about me. So now I can't be okay about me either.
Right. Is she trying to tell me something? Is there something, you know, like that? I start getting into that mode, right? As opposed to like, my mom could stay worried, but I'm still intact and I'm fine and I'm good, you know, and that's just her stuff. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's like, oh, if my mom is feeling worried about me, I want to mention this because I think this also has something to do with it. One of the earliest dreams that I had of her when she first passed away, and I think I mentioned this to you. It was the week that she had passed away. I had a dream that Friday. She died on a Monday. That Friday, I had a dream about her that was very unsettling. And I'm sorry, that's not what I wanted to bring up. But I did have an unsettling dream of hers, and I was a little bit blindsided by it because you hear.
That was before she passed?
This was after. But I have another story that was actually the one that I wanted to say, but I brought this one up. And I'm bringing this one up because it was another unsettling dream. And I felt a little bit blindsided by that because I've never heard of anyone talk about having nightmares after someone passes away. Usually all the like dreams that I hear of with deceased peoples are like benevolent, You know what I mean? Or kind of vague, but like never nightmares. You know what I'm saying? Like horror type of dreams, which I don't even have. Like my horror type of dreams, scary dreams are usually thrillers, not horrors, you know? But anyway, that wasn't what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up the dream that she had before she passed away. She had a dream. This was like close to the diagnosis, like a little bit after the diagnosis. Okay. So she was diagnosed in late August. This is like early September. And she was speaking to another practitioner about this dream that she had of me and her two coworkers, and that she was like seeing me, and all she could do was see me and these two coworkers living in squalor in these really disgusting, dirty rooms. And she was like, my husband was nowhere in sight, and that she was just like, why is my daughter like with my coworkers and living in such this like horrible like destitution, you know, like living in such a disgusting place. And that she was seeing me from behind this really dirty mattress or comforter. And when she dreamt that, right, I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like another way of, you know, another example of I'm not okay unless
yeah,
you know. And I did ask the dream interpreter that I work with, what was that about? And she was like, that's often dreams that people have when they're in the throes of illness, you know. And I was like, okay.
But see, it doesn't matter what the dream meant to your mom or why she had it in this conversation. It matters that upon hearing it through your lens and your experiences and your doubts and your fears, how you interpret it. Exactly. So,
and I think they both were pointing to those two freaking beliefs, you know?
Exactly.
Like, and it's like, especially the one about fearing God, fearing life, fearing the universe.
Right.
You know, like I don't have this great, and it makes me really sad.
Well, you can't ever really truly fully settle. Right?
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to come in here and do some tapping with you on it, because I just was like, you know, waking up from that dream today. I didn't like it.
No, I know.
You know? I didn't like it. I was like, I don't want to like fear life and God, and you know, it's like great things happening. Like I want to be able to like feel them wholeheartedly, you know, and feel like I'm working with God, I'm working with life here, you know. Like I guess so it was just really unsettling for me, because for my mom, at least in the dream, it appeared like my mom was expressing fear for me, you know. And I was like, damn, I don't want that, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's why I'm coming here fresh.
When you think in terms of not trusting God, fearing God, but let's stick with the trust for a moment. What would you want to be able to trust?
That I can have what I really want in this life. That I can live what I really want to live, you know?
And what makes you believe that you can't? Do you have any sense of that?
Yeah, that, you know, quote unquote bad news, right? Like being blindsided by something,
the other shoe,
that I consider negative.
Okay.
unwanted, by something really unwanted, you know? And frankly, Steven, I think I'm also being heartbroken. Like I realize like I'm a love girl, you know? Like I love love. Love. And anything that that's not that, or feels like it's just, it's like love and connection, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
just having this feeling like the pain and heartbreak, you know, like just heart wrenching. Is just like, damn, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do well with that.
Do you know why?
Do I know why I don't do well with heartbreak?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a lover girl.
Do you know why else? Why?
I mean, I guess like perhaps judging what is heartbreak. Mm-hmm.
She's had some experience. Exactly. It's our judgments that the unwanted is wrong, that it's bad, that it's tragic, that it's awful. That belief system, that set of beliefs that so many of us carry and automatically go into in quote unquote unwanted, when we're blindsided, when unwanted shows up, starts to become the issue itself. That's far bigger than the heartbreak or whatever the immediate thing. It's the meaning we make of it. That's what we talk about here all the time. Something happens, and then there's meaning that we make. I had a dream, and here's the meaning I'm making of the dream. It's the exact same idea that we're doing all of the time. I'm obsessed with finding what the beliefs are because of my knowing that healing occurs in the belief system of the person seeking the healing.
The thing though, Steven, and I'm not trying to get all philosophical here because I know that's not what we do, but at the same time, I do feel like I don't know if I mean, I'm sorry, but like it is unwanted. I would not want, I didn't like the fact, nor did I want for my mom to get sick and die, right? It shouldn't have happened. No, I'm not there. Like it happened because it happened, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't want that to happen. I wouldn't want for my husband to get sick and die, get in an accident and freaking die, you know, because I want the physical presence, spiritual, physical presence here in the plane and share on this plane, you know? Now, am I going to forever be on like, I didn't like that and I can't get over it? No, I'm not there. But I just also feel like there's something to be said about the sensation I feel, right?
The
Like,
sensation you feel and the experience that you are having of being blindsided, of the heartbreak, of the tragedy, of all that is extremely real. And we're leaving out a whole piece of the puzzle. So the piece that we're leaving out is the spiritual piece.
yeah.
The idea that, and you started to talk about this with regard to your mom's story and all of that we started with 7 weeks ago. So everything you said about, well, here I am, I'm down here, I don't want anything to happen to my husband, I don't want anything bad to happen at all, I'm a love girl, I just want to move through the world and have the kinds of experiences I want to have. I don't want to be blindsided. I don't want to have heartbreak. I don't want to have.
And frankly, it would be great if, like, you know, when people do transition, it'll be like Melody Beattie. Melody or Melanie?
Melody.
Melody. Melody Beattie, who passed away. Her daughter announced her passing this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so beautiful. Like she was like, my mother passed away really peacefully. And why? Because she was never afraid of death. She
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, I can't wait to, like be in the presence of God, meet up with your brother. Because her, big part of her story was that her son passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then she died so peacefully. And I was like, that was wonderful, like, okay, bravo. I love that, And then I started feeling a little bad because I was like, oh, am I, big upping this, round of applause for the way Melody passed away in transition? And am I saying something about the way that my mom resisted it, And I'm like, oh, and then it was just starting to get really messy.
So backing up, looking down a few thousand feet at what's going on, or way more than that, here's another piece of our practice. First of all, we have chosen to believe that there are no accidents. Every single thing we experience is something we came here to experience. Everything. Mm-hmm. So the choice is bound. The choice was made on a soul level before we came.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to take the responsibility of saying you knew when you got born to your mother that you would have 65 years with her and then she would die of pancreatic cancer. I cannot say that for a fact. What I can say is it's not an accident that this was your experience.
Absolutely.
Right? And I would take this a little bit further because I think that nobody would argue with you in saying that, can I just have a life with no big bad things ever happening, please? I would like to just sign up for that. I mean, I think everybody would say, yeah, me too. And yet, look around, that doesn't seem to be the way it works, at least not right now in our lifetimes or previous to now. So if we trust that we're here for a reason and there really are no accidents, then it's not about creating a life free of any potential
unwanted,
what we call unwanted. Mm-hmm. That feels to me like a futile.
Oh no, it's really, I know that experience.
Yes. So
very well.
Yeah. So this whole experience that you're having, so you just shared the Melody Beattie's daughter and how she discussed her mom's passing from a very, sounds like, accepting.
Like Melody
place.
was
this is part of life. Yes. This is what it looks like when you don't fear death.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like Melody was the one telling her daughter that she was like, I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
Like,
so just as she is contributing to helping humanity change its perspective of death and grief and loss, so am I doing that in my way. So are you doing that as we speak with this project. So you and your mom are doing what Melody Beattie and her daughter have been doing in a different way.
Yeah.
In a different way. And so again, this idea of trusting, I want to trust God or I can't trust God because things will happen that I don't want, and then I'm lost, or I'm unsettled, or
like
or it fucks my program.
So
this is it. This is back to.
They'll take away stuff,
I'll lose what I've gained. I'll lose what I've earned. I'll lose
the people that I love,
So this is now we might need to add to the
things that I love. Yeah.
So now we might need to add to the list of beliefs, of the negative beliefs. What does it mean to quote unquote lose? That's what this whole project is about as well, right?
Well,
something has
losing the physical interaction, like the other day I was feeling a little bit, when I think about my mom, like internally, I'm for the most part okay, right? These days. When I hear her voice, see her photos right now, ooh, it's tough, for me right now. Like I get the little, choked up, and I don't want to avoid it, like I don't want to avoid it, but
you allow it when it comes and just
yeah.
And what does it mean to you?
Because I like hugging her,
yeah,
smelling her, like my mom always smelled good,
Yes.
So yeah.
And these are the aspects when somebody transitions and they've died,
so
and
soft, just so soft.
So this is
yeah.
Say again.
I miss that. That's what I feel like, a loss,
Yes, because that is what was here and is not here anymore, and it's not going to be.
Right.
And so we absolutely, at least in my personal and professional experience, those are the things that are quote unquote true losses. I had it, I experienced it, and now I can't and won't anymore. It's something that has been subtracted from my life, right? So that is where we really do feel that absence, and that just takes some time.
Yeah, I know.
And
this is where the time piece can actually be.
Well, that's where, but time, while you're allowing it when it comes, and then it just dissipates.
Time with consciousness.
Yes, it's not just denying everything and saying time will fix it. Not at all.
It's like, just, time passed by. I'm fine now. Yeah, no.
But over time, we're not as those things don't hit us in the same way. If we're processing through the experience, which you are doing.
Yeah.
They do hit us in the same way when we don't do any of what we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
And we just stuff it and put it on the shelf and compartmentalize it, and all the things, all the ways we have to not deal with our stuff. That is where, and we've discussed this before, time is not going to do anything for you, except to help you get used to the fact that you're now carrying around this gigantic, unprocessed luggage.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid / I don't trust God, the universe, life, or I'm not okay unless everyone else is okay.
Yes.
So I'm asking Delilah, basically taking the temperature 0 to 10. Where are you in terms of believing or not believing?
Okay, so the first one, the not trusting God, life, universe, fearing God, life, universe, I would say it's about an 8.
Okay.
And then I'm not okay unless everyone else is okay, about a 6.
All right. I want to take the first one first.
Yes, I do too, because I feel like that's like
right. That's kind of the.
I feel like it's the reason why this dream that I had was so troubling for me.
Yeah, I get it. All right.
It was almost like I was like, is my mom validating the fear I have of life? Like, no, that's really why I woke up like that.
Or
like,
are you right?
Even in the dream, I was like, why? No, Ma, don't be worried about me. Like, this is going against what I want in life, Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to talk and tap and see what happens. Your legs, ankles, and feet are uncrossed. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting on the karate chop. Even though I've held a belief for some time.
Even though I've held the belief for some time.
That fundamentally I don't trust God.
that fundamentally I don't trust God.
I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Even though I've seen through this process
Even though I have seen through this process
so far
that
one of the most powerful beliefs I have right now
one of the most powerful beliefs I have right now
about fearing God,
about fearing God,
about not trusting God,
about not trusting God,
not trusting life,
not trusting life,
has made itself known.
has made itself known just as little, as soon as recent as last week.
Mm-hmm.
But has been there for quite some time.
Yes. I'm therefore choosing here and now.
I'm therefore choosing here and now
to reevaluate this belief.
To reevaluate this belief.
Even though I've carried a belief for some time.
Even though I've carried the belief for some time.
And is being kicked up right now.
Being really kicked up right now.
Wherein I don't trust God.
Wherein I don't trust God, do not have that warm connection.
I even often think God is out to get me. Or to
chastise me.
Chastise me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love and accept myself completely.
I love and accept myself completely.
Good eyebrow point. So, as I'm acknowledging, I've had this belief floating around for some time.
So, as I'm acknowledging, I've had this belief floating around for some time.
Sides of the eyes. It bleeds into another strain of just thinking that other people can fuck with my program.
It bleeds into other people, this idea, belief that other people can fuck up my program.
Under the eyes. And I assign the same idea to the universe, to God.
I assign the same idea to universe, God.
Under the nose. I look around, I see bad things happening to good people.
I look around, I see bad things, quote unquote, bad things happening to good people.
On the chin, including me and my family.
Including me and my fam.
Collarbone, especially what just happened with my mom.
Especially what just happened with my mom.
Under the arm, and it makes me feel very unsettled.
Makes me feel very unsettled and unsafe.
Mm-hmm. Top of the head. Unsettled, unsafe, and fearing the future.
Unsettled, unsafe, and fearing the future.
Eyebrows. So here I am intending consciously for what I want to be, do, and have and experience.
Here I am intending consciously for what I want to be, do, and have.
And experience.
And experience.
Mm-hmm. Sides of the eyes. And yet the very entity to which I'm speaking.
And yet the very entity to which I'm speaking.
Under the eyes, my co-creative partner in this process.
Co-creative partner in this process.
Under the nose is an entity that I cannot trust.
Is an entity that I'm feeling like I can't trust.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm certainly not trusting for whatever reason.
And I'm not trusting, even though I want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Consciously,
yes.
I want to make that choice, but I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. Like I feel like I have to jump through hoops to trust.
Yes. And part of why I'm not feeling it is the fear that I'm cultivating.
And part of the reason why I'm not feeling it is the fear that I'm cultivating.
The fear that I'm not cultivating it on purpose.
The fear that I'm not cultivating on purpose.
But a lot of my attention has been in that space.
Yeah, I spiraled. A lot of my attention spiraled into that space. Yeah.
It's not permanent. I won't be there forever.
I'm not going to be there forever. It's not permanent.
Under the eyes, but it's all but impossible to communicate with source.
It's all but impossible to communicate with source.
Under the nose when I'm in fear.
Definitely when I'm in fear.
On the chin. And when I'm holding source responsible for the problems.
And when I'm holding source responsible for the problems.
Collarbone. For making bad things happen.
For making bad things happen.
For other shoes dropping.
For other shoes dropping.
Playing out my belief in impending doom.
Playing out my belief in impending doom.
Eyebrow. This other idea that I entertain of impending doom.
This other idea that I entertain, impending doom.
Sides of the eyes. All this impending doom thinking.
All this impending doom thinking.
Under the eyes. All this impending doom thinking.
All this impending doom thinking.
Under the nose. All of this fearing the other shoe dropping.
All of this fearing the other shoe dropping.
Chin. All of this fearing being blindsided.
Man, all this fear of being blindsided. That's like the deepest one. The blindsided, like, you know why? I think it makes me feel really badly is because it makes me feel like, you see, bitch, this is why you can't let go. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself, you know, because you don't want to be.
We're going to keep talking while we're tapping, but if you are, but that fear is not protecting you.
No.
That holding on, oh, I got to protect myself, is not protecting you.
No, it's exhausting me.
There you go. So the exhaustion.
But conceptually, I feel conceptually is one way. I know that, but the feeling is like, no, you got to hold on to
it. The feeling is never detached from a belief. So what's the belief?
Worrying keeps me safe.
Worrying keeps me safe. I'm just going to play around with this idea. It doesn't sound right in my rational mind that worrying keeps me safe.
It does not sound right in my rational mind that worrying keeps me safe.
But there's some part of me that seems to believe that worrying keeps me safe.
There is some part of me that seems to believe that worrying keeps me safe. I mean, even on a conscious level, I can rationalize it because if I worry, then I'm on guard.
And if you're on guard,
I protect myself.
Right. And
from bad things happening.
But we're sitting here because a bad thing happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the exhaustion again, if I'm endeavoring to protect myself.
If I'm endeavoring to protect myself.
And it results in my feeling exhausted.
It results in my feeling exhausted and actually dually scared.
Yeah. Then obviously I'm on the wrong track.
Yeah. Stressed out, bloated, you know.
Anxious. Yep. Mm-hmm. Under the nose. Yeah. So.
Oh, and helpless.
And helpless. There you go.
Feeling helpless. Disempowered.
Mm-hmm. On the chin. So this habit of thinking.
This habit of thinking.
Collarbone, inclusive of these beliefs.
Inclusive of these beliefs.
Under the arm is just something I've rehearsed over and over and over and over and over and over
something
again.
That I've rehearsed over and over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Top of the head. And if it serves me, I'm happy to keep this energy.
If it serves me, I'm happy to keep the energy.
Eyebrow. But it doesn't serve me.
It doesn't serve me.
So this way that I've had of contending with life.
This way that I had of contending with life.
Under the eyes seems to be up for review.
Seems to be up for review.
Under the nose. I've had an intention for some time.
I've had an intention for some time.
The chin for two-way communication with the divine.
For two-way communication with the divine.
Mm-hmm. Collarbone. And I have this way of thinking.
And I have this way of thinking.
I have chronically entertained impending doom.
I've chronically entertained impending doom.
I have chronically feared being blindsided by life.
I've chronically feared being blindsided by life.
Eyebrow. I've chronically feared the other shoe dropping.
Chronically feared the other shoe dropping.
Sides of the eyes. I've often believed I need to protect myself.
I've often believed that I need to protect myself.
Good, under the eyes. But it seems that what I call protecting myself,
It seems that what I call protecting myself,
under the nose, isn't working.
isn't working.
On the chin. So I either give up my desire.
I either give up my desire
For divine two-way communication.
for divine two-way communication.
Collarbone that I certainly am hoping will include my mother.
And I'm certainly hoping that it includes my mother.
Under the arm. Or I give up the beliefs that would block me from those experiences.
Or I give up the beliefs that block me from the experience.
And I'm well aware of what the beliefs are.
I'm well aware of what the beliefs are.
Eyebrow. I really even get a lot of this in my conscious mind.
I totally get a lot of this in my conscious mind.
Sides of the eyes. And now we're addressing the unconscious and the subconscious.
Now we're dealing with the unconscious and subconscious.
Under the eyes. Now we're throwing a wrench into that chronic way of thinking and feeling.
Now we're throwing a wrench into that chronic way of thinking and feeling.
Under the nose. We're interrupting those chronic thoughts and feelings.
We're interrupting those chronic thoughts and feelings.
And chin. And even though I'm really tired right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It just like kind of came over. Even though I'm feeling tired right now.
Collarbone. We're just going to wrap it up by pointing this energy that we're moving.
We're going to wrap it up by pointing this energy that we're moving
under the arm into my intention for this process and this project.
Into my intention for this process and this project.
Which generally speaking is? Now you talk.
Connection with my mom, connection with the divine, deepening that connection, two-way communication with the divine, trusting the divine. You know? Yeah.
Great. So I'm starting to say goodbye.
Starting to say goodbye.
To an old way of thinking.
To an old way of thinking.
Saying goodbye, collarbone, to anxiety.
Saying goodbye to anxiety.
Fear.
Fear.
Under the arm. Fear of impending doom.
Fear of impending doom.
Fear of the universe.
Fear of the universe.
Fear that I'm not safe.
Fear that I'm not safe.
And pointing myself in the direction of everything I want to experience.
And pointing myself in the direction of everything that I want to experience.
Beautiful. Let's take a nice deep breath or two and check in.
I don't know what this says. Like, honestly, I don't know what this means, but like at some point there, I just felt like the energy was kind of zapped out of me. I don't know what that is or means, but yeah, I just feel like a little, maybe that tension was what I had, adrenaline, maybe. going
Mm-hmm.
with
Do
that.
you feel better or worse with that?
Well, I don't feel the tension anymore. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say that's better,
Yeah.
but I guess the tension was so tight, so tense that once I relieved some of that, I
Mm.
feel like, whew,
Time for a nap.
yeah.
Good. Good. Well,
Yeah.
let's also.
And like my solar plexus, I was just feeling like that. And then my chest, my heart area.
Mhm.
It's just
Well,
very like,
it was, and now it's a little less so, but also
yeah,
just,
more
yeah.
chill. It's more
Well,
chill.
and more chilled. It's beautiful. And so that's what's always going to happen. The I don't even remember exactly where we started. Oh, we started 0 to 10 on I'm
Mhm.
afraid I don't trust God. And what that where are you right now with that? I don't trust God. I don't trust the universe. I don't trust life.
5,
And where were you before?
8.
Okay, so your 8 was the distrust.
Yes.
Yeah. So now
Or
you're
I don't trust God, the universe. That was 8.
yeah,
It's very
and
strong.
now you're at a 5. Right.
5.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So you're a little more trusting now than you were when we started.
Or I don't know, if a little more trusting as opposed to not as distrustful.
Less not trusting. Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
That's how it
Okay.
feels.
So, and this is what we do when we're
Like
tapping.
the distrust was so strong, I think.
Yes.
And
Yes.
as opposed to like the trust not being so strong.
Yeah,
You
I
know what I
totally
mean?
get
There's
it.
a
No, it's
difference,
fine.
right? Yeah.
You've already answered the question. We're looking for movement of energy. So Delilah's, first of all, the intensity of that belief, I can't trust, I don't trust, is less than it was. That's what
So
we're looking
activated.
for.
Yeah.
And feeling some sense of, whoa, well, yeah, I kind of released some stuff, but wow, and feeling some relief / tired from that is normal. Let's also not forget the weight of fear, the weight of anxiety. So some of that has gone in this.
Yeah, like my
too.
solar plexus it doesn't feel as like,
It's huge. It's huge.
and I don't feel that verklempt wanting to cry feeling in my heart area, it's more chill, neutralized.
So we're at the end of this session roughly, and I know you're very tired. So the thing to do would be to just continue on this
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Why? Because as we're acknowledging, there's definitely more to go. And because of the releases that have occurred, we know we're on the right track. If somebody can move on the up and on that 0 to 10 scale a few notches in one tapping session, that's significant. And again, it's just a quick measurement, and it gives us some indication.
I mean, the fact that I'm less distrustful, perhaps not more trusting, but less distrustful.
That's totally fair. I really should have phrased it that way, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Yes.
good because the distrust was really messing with me physically.
You were like,
yeah, no, like before we came on, I was just like, yeah, I'm not feeling well physically, like, but now I feel much more chill in my body.
Good. So keep going, do what you will between now and then. And just remember the conversation about the dream is really the conversation that we have in spiritual workout all the time. Something happens, that's a fact. It happened. I had a dream. Then everything that comes after that is the meaning we make.
Totally.
And so initially, the meaning you were making was my mom's sending me a message, or you were at least questioning that.
I was wondering,
yes, and that's one meaning a person.
Yeah. And then I made it also mean like she's validating the fear.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, so I would just ask you to continue to, before you sign a contract and lock in that meaning of that dream, keep it open. Because when you say wondering, I really appreciate that, because you're not like hard and fast.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
And you don't yet have a lot of different other interpretations.
Just
And
right now, actually,
yeah.
another idea came up of like, well, maybe my mom was worried about my living my life in fear.
So this is how we do it. You mull, instead of automatically, without any conscious awareness, making meaning of the events of our lives, when we choose on purpose, we don't necessarily just make a decision on the spot. We might consider for some period of time, that happened. I'm not sure what I'm going to make that mean. I'm going to toss around some different ideas. And in that process, it's listening to inspiration again. One of those ideas will feel right.
Yeah. When I say that about living my life in fear, fearing God, not trusting, it makes me feel so badly. Like it makes me feel really sad. Is that just because I'm not connecting?
No, because it's a sad thing. Look, the connection is always here.
Sad thing to believe, I know.
It's a sad thing to experience. It's going to, that is the antithesis of living as a spiritual being, denying this part of us.
Okay.
So of course
and that's why it's sad. Yeah, it feels like
it should feel sad.
Really sad. And that's why I think the idea of my mom validating the fear in that dream, even in the dream, I was feeling sad, like disheartened.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with a human being feeling sad. What becomes problematic is if the sad never goes away.
Right.
That's not how we're wired. And if the sad never goes away, it's because of a belief or a set of beliefs that are creating that emotion.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you got some homework.
I do.
You have the original homework.
To report something really. What was that?
I said you have the original homework from the first week.
Yes. And I wanted to touch on that.
Okay.
That when I did have moments of feeling badly about how my mom passed away, or I went into why would the soul choose that? I went back to the thing that I wrote about how I wanted this to be, right? Because I started having those thoughts come up when I thought about my mom being in fear of what was happening, right? Like fearing what was happening. And I just remember when I rewrote from the soul's perspective, or, the exercise that I did when I was hearing crickets, and I was like, okay, what would I want this to be, be like? And the download was like, yeah, I was fearing what was, happening when I was there on earth. And I was fearing because I didn't know what was in store for me. There was like that uncertainty and I was afraid. But once I reached, this dimension, like it's on, like it's great. Like I'm, expansive and powerful, right? So I go there when I start feeling or remembering how scared my mother was. Because that's the part of it that.
Yes. And so when you go there now to this new story,
it points me to the present,
and how do you feel?
Better, better.
2 or 3 feeling words?
Huh?
2 or 3 feeling words?
Relieved.
Okay.
Soothed, which is kind of like relieved. More at peace.
Okay.
Peaceful, more peaceful. And more inspired.
Okay.
More inspired.
mini little review lesson right now.
Mhm.
We've been saying that we don't feel feelings that are detached from beliefs. Could be one belief, could be a set of beliefs, doesn't matter. They will produce in us feelings. I believe I can't trust God. God's against me. Feels really sad. Okay? That, and again, there's nothing quote unquote wrong with any of that. Then, so if we are feeling feelings that are uncomfortable, that seem to repeat, why am I always feeling so guilty? Why am I feeling so anxious? Why am I feeling so nervous? Whatever it is that ostensibly isn't pleasant, but becomes somewhat chronic. The way out of that 100% of the time is change the beliefs that are creating that experience. Now, on the flip, when we are feeling feelings like relieved, I wrote them down, soothed, at peace, inspired, we are aligned with truth. Those thoughts, how am I feeling these things that have me aligned with the truth of who I really am? Oh, because I'm telling a different story about how I have perceived my mom's death. And this story that I'm just starting to play around with as a possible meaning to make of this whole experience is producing in me everything I need to know that I'm on the right track.
Okay.
This is about using our feelings as the guidance that they are.
Yeah. Yep.
So when you asked some weeks ago, well, am I just making it up to make myself feel better? That's all we're doing all day, every day anyway. But when we measure against our inspiration and we can identify the feelings that you just identified when you thought about this other story, then that is all we need to know. Living life as a spiritual being, having a human experience, is about walking around all day, every day, knowing you'll know what to do when it's time to do it because you trust your gut, you trust your instincts, you trust your guidance, and you trust your feelings, so that we can stop all the analysis and say without any further ado that the words that you've written so far in telling this story from a different perspective are true.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
we're connected to ourselves, another way to talk about that is being connected to truth, authenticity. What's right?
Yeah.
Not right as right and wrong, but what feels right.
Right.
Yeah. Really
Mm-hmm.
good, Delilah. Really, really good.
Well, thank you, Steven. Got some more soul work to do here for next week.
Yeah, so a little more tapping on it
Yeah.
based on what we did.
Yes.
Exactly, and then see where that takes you, and let me know if it.
Continuing on with that
Yeah,
because I'm feeling that.
yeah, for sure,
Feeling that
for
front
sure.
and center.
And then we'll that other belief and maybe some of the others. I'm not okay unless we'll
Yeah. Those are
see what that looks
part of
like
it.
next
Yeah,
week.
those are part
Absolutely.
of it. Absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you once again, Stephen. Folks, this
Well,
is Unconventional Wisdom on Grief and Loss, like raw, unedited, live sessions that are really, truly helping me move through this intentionally, consciously, with power,
and you are thus helping many other people to do the
I
same.
hope so. I hope so.
Me too.
Um, we'll be back next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The recording is going to live on the YouTube channel. So anyone who wants to catch the recording, feel free. Anyone who would like to make a comment, have a question, feel free to do so in the chat. We'll pick it up from there for next time. Or even just like if you watch the recording and there's a comment there or a question you want to ask, we'll be attuned to it. Once again, Delilah De La Rosa here, founder of DEP Worldwide. Also the person receiving all the goodness, receiving the unconventional wisdom on grief and loss. And to my side here, Steven Morrison, creator of Spiritual Workout. As you saw, one of his cards, one of the principles, listen to inspiration. Also with the we're here for a reason, as well as the other concept, judgments separate us. See, those three where it came up this session. He is also the author of An Extra Year, Grief and Loss in the New Age. Powerful, powerful book, and definitely speaks to unconventional wisdom on grief and loss. So,
even though that's not how I ever thought about it. But
of course not, but it is.
It totally is. I get it.
It is.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll be really okay.
To this convention.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll be okay when this is now conventional.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you once again, Steven. Thank you to everyone here. We will see you the next time. Bye.